In this lecture, I want to briefly discuss scientific notation. There is going to be a point in the semester where numbers are either too small or too large for you to want to actually write out all of the digits. So for large numbers, say we have 1,000. Our goal when we have scientific notation is to have one number that is not a zero to the left of the decimal. So we have an imaginary decimal here, and I have to move it 1, 2, 3 places to have just one number that's not a zero to the left of the decimal. So I would write 1 times 10 raised to the third power, and the power corresponds to the number of places I moved the decimal. So you'll notice I went 1, 2, 3, and so we're 3 up here. So this would be 1 times 10 to the 3. And if you multiplied 1 times 10 to the 3, you would end up with 1,000 back. This is also a note for comparing numbers. You can't just look at the number up front, you have to look at the exponent as well. So if you had a number that was 1 times 10 to the 3 and we're comparing it to 2 times 10 to the 2, even though the front number is bigger than 1, the exponent is less than 3, so that 2 times 10 to the 2 would actually be a smaller number. If we have a small number, say 0.0015, once again our goal is to get one number that is not a zero to the left of the decimal. So in this case I'm going to move over 1, 2, 3 places. So I would write 1.5 times 10 to the 3. However, because I moved the decimal to the right rather than the left, this is going to be to the -3. So that would be the same thing as dividing by 1,000, which would get you back the 0.0015. Also in this moment, I want to discuss a little bit about your calculator. Calculators use order of operations, so parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. And they don't understand that sometimes we don't use parentheses where we have implied use of in parentheses. So if you would do 1 divided by 1 times 10 to the 3, and you typed it in your calculator like that, what you would end up actually doing according to the calculator, because it's just going to do the multiplication and division in order, is going to take the 1 divided by 1, and then it's going to multiply by the 10 to the 3. So your answer would end up being 1,000 rather than the 0.001 that you would have expected. There are two ways that you can fix this. The first way would be to put your denominator in parentheses. So put a parenthesis at the beginning of the denominator and at the end of the denominator. The other way you can fix this is by using a button on your calculator. And typically it's either a capital E or two capital E's. And you would put it in like this. This the calculator understands as 1 times 10 to the 3. And it keeps it as 1 unit, so you don't need the parentheses. Now be careful, you're looking for a capital E, not a lowercase e. The lowercase e is an exponential and it stands for like 2.6 or 2.7 something. It's an actual number. So make sure you're using a capital E. It's usually a button that you have to hit second and then that number, or it may actually just be a button on your calculator. Unfortunately, there's so many different types of calculators out there that I can't give specific directions in this moment.